What's up, guys? We're back to another video. And today we just got Marvel's What If episode 5, the zombie episode, and to me it was like so good. And with this, it kind of gave us like a dark what if episode, and because of the last like a couple episodes were dark, and we definitely got to see this episode that was like so dark and like creepy to me with all the Avengers as zombies, and including like all of them. And the ending was kind of like unexpected. And this is actually coming from the Marvel zombie comic book storyline, and that was applied to this episode and so much more. So this will be my Marvel's What If episode 5 breakdown of the zombie episode. And if you're trying to avoid spoilers for this episode, you should probably click away now. But if you're still here, let's get into it. So episode 5 of What If starts with Bruce Banner in his Hulk form being transported out of space, because this is like following, like this is taking place during the events of Avengers Infinity War, when Bruce Banner was transported from the ship that Thor and Loki were in, and that like Thanos was there, and then he was transported into New York, and they crashed into the cinema and fell right through the stairs. And then he was trying to warn the others that Thanos was coming, the Mad Titan. But like the only two people that weren't there when Bruce Banner warned them was Doctor Strange and Wong. And this is kind of interesting because with Bruce Banner like having like revving a hole like through the cinema and through the stairs, this might be a reference to Spider-Man No Way Home. Of the same and that's why it's so cold, and freezing, and Doctor Strange is wearing all those layers. And then we see Bruce Banner as he is walking outside, and he sees Thanos' children and Aboni Ma appear, and they're seeing that there's supposed to be Wong, Tony Stark, Doctor Strange, and Bruce Banner as he's turning into the Hulk, but no one else is beside him. But then, as Bonnie Law like Moss says the famous line, "You're about to die in the hands of Thanos," but right before he says that, he is attacked by what is soon to be the Iron Man zombie. And plus, when Iron Man, the Doctor Strange, and Wong go and to fight them, Bruce Banner like thinks and they're fighting and killing them, but they're actually killing them, but in their zombie form. So this is like in a form of a zombie apocalypse, as Iron Man, Doctor Strange, and Wong are now zombies. And right before, as Bruce Banner is about to be eaten by the Iron Man zombie, he is quickly saved by our one and only friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. But this time, this isn't Tom Holland playing Spider-Man this time in this week's episode 1 of episode 5. It got actually voiced by a different actor, but it was nice to see Spider-Man again in this week's episode of What If, as we're expecting to see him in Spider-Man No Way Home, which was pretty nice to see it in this episode. The next, we get this scene that's kind of like from Ant-Man and the Wasp, with Hank Pym going into the quantum realm to rescue his wife, Janet Van Dyne, and he realizes that the quantum virus went into Janet Van Dyne, and then she turned into a zombie too. And then when Hank and Janet Van Dyne made it back, and when Hope and Scott wanted to be in the reunion, they turn into zombies and end up attacking them. Next, it takes place in San Francisco on the Golden Gate Bridge, as you see the Avengers are arriving on a bridge where people are zombies, so it's like a zombie apocalypse. And then once like Captain America got infected, got a bite, but then all the other Avengers were eaten, and then they are turned into zombies, and that's how it kind of plays out the rest of the episode, which I'll talk about later in the video. The next week, we see Peter Parker, but in a Spider-Man suit, explaining and making an instructional video on how to survive a zombie apocalypse. And then we see the return of Happy Hogan, and with a Kurt in this episode as well. And we also see Bucky Barnes return in this episode from the first episode, What If, but he has his long hair and has a metal arm on, and then as they're trying to pretend that he's a zombie. And then, as the rest of the gang are trying to figure out where the zombies are headed, and we also see the return of Sharon Carter in this episode as well. The last time we saw her was in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And as they go to find what the rest of the zombie apocalypse is, we see that this is like they drive to Grand Central. Now, with this building, is the exact same spot that the Avengers went to when they were in the Battle of New York, when Loki brought the Chitauri into New York. So this was kind of like from the Battle of New York. Then we see the gang in Grand Central, and as they're going to look for the zombies, including Happy as well. And then we see Peter Parker in his Spider-Man suit, and Bruce Banner and Kurt as they're all on a train trying to escape from the zombies if they ever find them. Spider-Man helps by making sure the brakes are in the right order or being fixed. And then the crazy thing happens as they are fighting Happy, and like some of the rest of them get turned into zombies. And as we can see, the rest of the gang fighting, including Bucky, Sharon Carter, and like the rest of the others. And we see the Falcon returning in this episode as they're both turned into zombies, and tries to kill Sharon Carter, but as a zombie. But then Sharon Carter ends up using Stark's tech, pointing to Happy, actually killing him. So like within this fight, like, it got like pretty crazy. And then as Sharon Carter is on the train, she can hear thudding on the ceiling, and then as the zombie touches down on her, Sharon tries to kill him, and then she starts to scream, and then like Bucky realizes that like Sharon needs help, and then Bucky goes onto the other side of the train, and then he comes face to face with the Captain America zombie and Bucky as the Winter Soldier, and Captain America zombie, and fighting each other. And then the fight ends with like Captain America zombie dying with the shield like sliced through him. Next, as you see, Hope is hurt and injured. We can see that Peter and Hope having a conversation together, interacting with each other, and then Hope asks Peter Parker how he's able to do everything, and then Peter explains the loss, like how he lost everything, including his parents, including the name he brought up called Uncle Ben, and Mr. Stark were referring to Tony Stark, and with that name drop of Uncle Ben will probably like referencing that to Spider-Man No Way Home. If we see the other two Spider-Man, and we hear the other Spider-Man talk about how they lost and their Uncle Ben. And then, as we see Kurt like coming out and telling them that at their train is out of fuel, they see that they're far away from their destination as they need to be at going to Camp Lehigh, and they see that they are surrounded by the zombie apocalypse, and they need to find ways to make it through them and actually fight them. And then, as you see Hope out there, as she's going to go out of that train and make it through the zombie apocalypse, we can see that she is in the Wasp suit, and it's gotten really big. And now there's also a reference to Scott Lang and his Ant-Man suit has gotten really big. We also seen this like plenty of times in Captain America Civil War and in the battle from Avengers Endgame. And when she is walking through the zombie apocalypse, we can see that she is carrying the rest of the gang over the zombie apocalypse and carrying them to safety. But then Hope is the only one standing and ends up dying from the zombie apocalypse. And then as the gang sees that the zombie apocalypse is going through the fence, as they're trying to go into a building, we hear a mention of Baba Yaga coming out of Kurt. And now with Baba Yaga, she is actually a Russian goddess of misfortune and witchcraft and everything. And now we also seen Baba Yaga, she's like a white ghost or like a white witch in Ant-Man and the Wasp. Then, as the gang are walking into the building, we see the return of Vision as they're going into some sort of a lab, as they're trying to figure out if a Vision stone, the Mind Stone, is like the source that I can reverse the condition of the zombie apocalypse. And then as Bucky goes and tries to find him transport, acquainted to get him out of there, we can see that he goes into a dark room, and then we see Wanda zombie, and we see Wanda Maximoff as a zombie, and then we can see T'Challa as voiced by Chadwick Boseman. Once again, this is like one of his last performances in the MCU. He's appearing in more episodes, and what if? But then Bucky finds T'Challa, but he has a broken leg and he is injured. And then we get this reveal that Vision has been kidnapping people to their deaths and having Wanda helping him. And when T'Challa was helping him, even though Vision was trying not to help T'Challa, he ended up having no leg. And so with this Bruce Banner actually found out that Vision has been kidnapping people. And now with this ending, with the gang trying to get out of the building with the Koi being eaten by a zombie, Vision actually commits suicide by taking the mind stone out of himself. Actually committed suicide. And now with this, he actually pulled the mind stone out of his head by himself. And in Avengers Infinity War, Thanos killed Vision by taking the mind stone out of him. And then it was the gang versus Wanda as a zombie against them, trying to fight them. They end up losing to Wanda as a zombie, and then she looks over to Vision, her husband. And now he is dead. The rest of the gang try to fight her, but they end up losing and probably dying too. And then when Bruce Banner is actually dragged in by one of the zombie into zombie apocalypse, he actually transforms into the Hulk, but ends up getting killed. And then we see the only ones that were left standing were Peter Parker, Scott Lang, and T'Challa. And Peter Parker actually mentions that how he lost Tony Stark when he said last year Tony Stark asked him to join the Avengers, but Peter Parker refused, and now they're all gone. And now what does this all started in Captain America Civil War when Tony Stark first recruited Peter Parker to join in the Avengers as Spider-Man, but then in Avengers Endgame, Tony Stark as Iron Man sacrificed himself to save the universe. But now, when in this episode of What If, Tony Stark asked him to join in the Avengers, but Peter Parker refused, and then Tony Stark and the others are all gone, and now he's still an Avenger. And then we, at the episode in Wakanda with the other people in the zombie apocalypse, and as Thanos as a zombie holding the Infinity Gauntlet. And now within the zombie episode of What If, we saw people as zombies, we saw a zombie apocalypse, and we saw Thanos in Wakanda with the Infinity Gauntlet. As in Avengers Infinity War, he was waiting for the Avengers. And now I like how this is all based on the Marvel zombie comics storyline. And to me, I kind of like this episode. It was a good, solid episode. I felt like that the ending was kind of rushed. But anyways, I'm excited for future episodes of What If. It was definitely nice to seeing the old characters return again, including Vision, Wanda Maximoff, Scarlet Witch using her powers, Zombie Hunter, Spider-Man, and we even got the mention of Peter Parker's losses and why he lost his life, including the Uncle Ben name drop. Including the Uncle Ben name drop and the Tony Stark name drop as well. So it was a very good episode, and I can't wait to see what comes next. So that is gonna be it for my What If episode 5 breakdown. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below of what you thought of What If episode 5, and give me a rating between 1 out of 10. Don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe and turn on that notification bell for future videos. And you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter for live updates. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.